Today, I'm going to share with you guys how one little potty break can cause a big headache. Welcome back to Gam Catches Up. Thank you again, everybody, for the love and support so far. Make sure you're liking the video, sharing it, and subscribing to the channel. It definitely helps me. This story is going to be a little bit different. Even though it's going to be another time machine story, it's going to be a little bit different. This one, I actually know the exact date that it took place on. Most things that I tell stories about, especially from my past, it's always going to be hazy. I may know like the roundabout age I was or the time frame or what have you, but this one was specific. And it was very specific because it happened to be the day of the WWF Royal Rumble 2000. Being the well-rounded nerd that I am, I've always watched wrestling since I was a little kid in the 80s. And I know there's a huge history to wrestling, but man, I'll tell you what. Back then, we always loved wrestling. And then it got boring. It got stale. So everybody kind of stopped watching it. That was until the Attitude Era. And the Attitude Era was aimed directly at high school kids, college kids. It was a younger demographic. They were doing raunchy things. They were really pushing the boundaries on what they were putting on TV and what they were trying to get away with as far as wrestling was concerned. Even though we love watching wrestling on a weekly basis on TV, at the end of every month there was a pay-per-view. And there was two companies. There was WCW and WWF. Each pay-per-view cost around $60. So $120 a month to watch the pay-per-view. However, we found a shortcut. WWF pay-per-views, they were being shown for free at a Hooters that was about an hour away from my house. So every month, me and a couple of my buddies that were really into wrestling, we would pitch together. We would buy the WCW pay-per-view. One person would record it and then give the tape to the other person. They'd watch it and then pass it to the other person. That was taken care of. But as far as spending $120 between all of us, we couldn't see the value in it, especially when Hooters is running this thing for free. So we decided at the end of every month when they'd air the WWF pay-per-view, we would go up, we would get our beer, we would get our wings, we'd just make a night out of it, have a guy's night out, cheer on our wrestlers, and just be guys for a night. And it became a ritual. We would do this every month. Now, as I said in my last video, I give my friends nicknames when I bring them into a story. And this story, there was two friends with me, Bones and Shadow. Being that I lived an hour away from this establishment, I didn't want to drive after I had been drinking. Bones, on the other hand, had no issue at all driving after he had a couple. So I rode with Bones most nights when we went up to go watch our pay-per-view. Now, even though Shadow is in this story, I'm not really going to go into a heavy description on him. I'll just say he was there. Skinny guy, black hair, very quiet. That's about all I'm going to say about him, because I guess you could say this is about Mr. Bones and me. Quick description of myself at this point. I'm lanky, skinny, had long brown hair, always wearing my trench coat. I weighed right around 165 pounds. And to describe Bones, Bones was a little bit shorter than me, so I guess 5'11". He weighed in right around 205, 210, somewhere in that neighborhood. He had real short flyaway hair, and he had this smile that you couldn't wipe it off his damn face. And he was always laughing about something. Very jovial type of person. Always having fun. Always looking for fun. Bones could talk his way almost out of any situation. For example, one time I got in trouble for doing something and I was supposed to go to the shore with him, and my mother had grounded me. I was probably like 16 at the time. Bones is a little bit older than me, so he already had his license and everything. I didn't yet. Bones came over to my house, and I told him, look, man, I'm sorry. I can't go to the shore with you because I'm grounded for the most part. He said, all right. So I thought Bones left. He didn't. He went downstairs. He talked to my mom for 45 minutes, came upstairs and said, all right, you're ungrounded. Come on, you can go to the shore. I don't know what the hell he said, but he just had that salesman's personality about him. Anyway, beyond the description, back at Hooters, we get there, we go in, we get a table, we order our pitchers of beer, we've got our food ordered. Bones is flirting with the waitress, which he was pretty much prone to do, and this time I think he actually got a number. But he was hitting it off with her pretty well. And that's not what makes the night memorable for me. What made this night stick out in my mind and my memory so well was the fact that there was actually a third promotion at the time called ECW, Extreme Championship Wrestling, based in Philadelphia. Being that we're in South New Jersey, just outside of Philadelphia, we all watched it on our local cable stations on public access late at night. And it was a ridiculously violent promotion. Their champion for a long time, his name was Taz. He was known as the Human Suplex Machine. He was this little sawed-off fire plug of a wrestler. The rumor had it that he would be coming to WWF soon, and we were all excited because rumor also had it that he was going to be debuting in the 2000 Royal Rumble. The pay-per-view starts. Out comes Kurt Angle, who at this time was a big heel, a big jerk. He comes into the ring. He starts talking trash. He's never been defeated in WWF up to this point. And next thing you know, this weird music hits. The lights go orange, and out comes Taz. And the bar loses it. Taz gets in the ring, challenges Kurt Angle to a match. He beats Kurt Angle with the submission move called the Taz Mission. And the bar loses it again. Hometown Boy has made good and hit the big time. So as the pay-per-view progressed, we kept ordering pitchers of beer. I ordered a second one. Bones had ordered his second one. I was still towards the end of my second one when he ordered his third one. And Shadow ordered a second one. But Shadow, before the Rumble match even hit, decided, hey, you know what, I've had enough, guys. I'm going home. I got work early in the morning. You guys can drink my pitcher. So now I've gone through 2 pitchers of beer by the end of the Rumble. Bones has gone through 3.5 pitchers. We left a little bit of beer. I know it's a party foul, but we did. And we get ready to leave. Bones tells me, hey, man, head out to the car. I'll be there in a minute. And I see him walking towards the waitress. We had already paid our tabs. So I just figured, hey, he's getting the waitress's number or, what have you. I go out to the car. I don't want to get in his way and cut his game off while he's talking to this girl. So I go out to the car and I sit there and I sit there and I sit there. And about half an hour goes by and I'm just about to get back out of the car when he comes strolling out the door, a big smile on his face, everything else. He gets in the car. He's got this piece of paper with her phone number on it. So that part was awesome. He got this girl's number. He's all excited. He's like, all right, man, you ready? And we take off. Now we know it's going to be about an hour home normally, but it's going to take us a little bit longer, maybe an extra 15, 20 minutes because he's been drinking and he doesn't want to be stupid about things. The stupid thing would be to take the highway, which gets us there quick. A lot more cops that way. So we head for the back roads. Back roads are barely lit and they're pretty dark and everything else. And he starts driving this back road. We are not more than 10 minutes into our trip when all of a sudden I realize I've really got to pee. I had been sitting in the car the whole time and the beer had finally run through me to a point where I'm like, oh my goodness, I've really got to go. So Bones starts looking for a place to pull off. He's like, all right, man, we'll find some place where we can pull off and you can go. We can't pull off on the side of the road that we're driving down currently because there's no shoulders on the side of the road. There's a ton of trees, but no shoulders. So Bones sees this little right-hand nothing street coming up. Says, all right, that's the perfect spot. We just got to pull up the road in case a cop goes by back here. We don't get nailed out in the open. He makes this right turn up what we think is a road, and it's actually somebody's paved driveway. When we pull into the driveway, we realize almost immediately it's a long driveway, and it's a very nice driveway. Somebody sunk a lot of money into the asphalt, and they had this ditch that ran along each side of the driveway, and they had what looked like landing lights, those lights that you line up the side of your driveway, but these weren't the cheap kind. These are the kind that are literally wired and probably on a timer, not like $2-3 lights that you can get at a Walmart or something. These things ran like $15-20 a piece. And there was probably, I'd say, 40 of them on each side of this driveway. So Bones instinctively, because all the lights in the house at the end of the driveway are off, turns off the headlights on the car because he doesn't want to alert the person inside. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I got a bad feeling about this. And he's just like, nah, man, go ahead. You know, like nobody's going to notice. He pulls 2/3 of the way up the driveway, stops the car. Car's still running. I open the door to get out. As soon as I pop that door open and the interior light kicks on, the lights in the house fire up. I slam the door. I get back in the car. I look at Bones. I'm like, dude, get us out of here. Now, the driveway was pretty straight coming in. So Bones just throws it in reverse. No lights going on now because he's turned out his headlights. Doesn't even look back and just hits the gas. We can feel the car go off into the ditch on the left side of this driveway, and he runs over every light out to the street. Pop, 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 pop. And we're going, oh my God, in the car, just laughing because I'm like, did you miss one by chance? Because it sounds like you hit all of them. We felt those back wheels come out of the ditch and hit the road, and Bones cuts the wheel real hard, throws it in the drive, turns his headlights on, and there's a hill in front of us. At the top of the hill, we can see these headlights getting closer in the tree line. So Bones hits the gas. We start going towards the hill or what have you as this car is cresting the hill. It obviously sees us come out of this driveway. And now we're just like, all right, well, we're good. We're back on track. We're both laughing, and now it's hilarious to us. We just ran over these guys' lights like, oh my God, I can't believe you did that. And we're kind of, he can't turn his head because he's watching the road. And I've got my head turned, and I notice as we pass this car that's just come over the hill towards us, I realize that it's got a police emblem on the side of it. And I go, brother, I think that was a cop. Nah, man, you're nuts, you're nuts, you're nuts. I whip my head around because now I'm just trying to see out of his taillights, was that a cop? Can I see lights on top of the thing? And the road's really dark, so it's hard to make out. We get to the top of the hill, and then all of a sudden, bam, brake lights hit on, and I see the cop's cherries pop on top of that car, and he starts U-turning. I'm like, Bones, it's a goddamn cop. Bones hits the gas. We were doing the speed limit. Now he's got us we're going cruising downhill. He's got us doing about 90 miles an hour, and we're just looking for anywhere where we can turn into, cut the lights, cut the engine, and just hide. And because we know going down this hill that this cop can't see us till after he gets over the hill. And we're flying. And Bones sees up on the left-hand side, hey, is that an entrance to an apartment complex? I'm like, yeah, brother, I think so. And we see the headlights. They get to the top of the hill, and we can see the car come over the hill. Lights are still on. Bones pulls the e-brake, cuts the wheel, and slides us perfectly down this little street to this apartment complex. We get in the apartment complex. He's slowed down quite a bit, and we pull into this parking space right next to a dumpster, and he cuts the car off completely. He pulls his keys out, so they're just hanging out of the ignition. So now we're sitting there in this parking spot, and we can see the road behind us that we came in on. We're a little far into it, not real deep into this apartment complex's parking lot, but we're close enough where we can see the road leading in, and we see the lights flying in with the red lights and blue lights flashing, and we see the cop make a left into the parking lot. So now we're like, oh God, he knows where we are. We're just sitting there quiet, and we see the searchlight on the side of the cop car turn on. We see his top lights turn out, so the red and blue is no longer flashing, and he's driving and he's searching each car and everything else. We see him deviate from the path we took and take a left all of a sudden. So he's back there and he's, we can't see him anymore. We wait about 5 minutes and just nothing. The searchlight has disappeared. We have no eyes on this police car anywhere. I am about to burst at the seams from how bad I've got to go to the bathroom. I've just got to pee. And I swear my eyes turned yellow at this point from how bad I had to pee. So I turned to Bones. I was like, man, that was a close one. He's like, yeah, man, we'll give it like another 5 minutes or what have you, and then we'll take off and get out of here. All right, brother. Well, I got to pee. Oh, yeah, go ahead. There's a dumpster right there. Go ahead. So I pop the door open, and as I do, and the interior light in the car comes on, bam, headlights on us, searchlight on us. I close the door nice and easy. I look at Bones and go, you got to be kidding me. The cop gets out of his vehicle and walks up to Bones' window and knocks on it. License, registration, proof of insurance, any drugs in the car? Have you been drinking? Now, Bones was smart. He hands him all his information, and he says, yes, officer. I had 2 beers. And the cop said, well, where were you? Well, we were at Hooters, sir. We were watching the pay-per-view. And I had a couple beers while I was there. My friend had too much to drink, so I'm driving him home. Now, instinctively, Bones has just set me because I know how much he's had to drink. He knows how much I've had a drink, so if I get questioned, then I'm the drunk one. That was the first setup point, and an important one, because the next words out of the cop's mouth are, what were you doing pulling out of the mayor's house? Bones and I look at each other, and we both look at the cop and say, what do you mean? What are we doing at the mayor's house? Where's the mayor's house? We don't know the mayor. He said, well, I saw you guys come out of his driveway fast, and we realized the driveway, this real nice house that we were just at, where Bones just ran over all these lawn lights. Yeah, it was the mayor's house. So now my pulse is gone through the roof because I'm like, oh my God, we just pretty much destroyed his property. And if he calls that in while this cop has us, we're done for because the cop knows we were there. So Bones, goes to explain, well, I pulled in there. I thought it was a side road, didn't realize it was a house. And, my friend here had to, and he was about to say piss. And I just instinctively knew what to do next. I said, puke, puke. I gotta puke. I'm sorry. And Bones plays into it because he realizes this is what he almost said, and that he almost got us nailed for public urination, especially in the mayor's driveway. So Bones says, shut up, you idiot. What did I tell you, man? Look at all this stuff you caused because you can't handle your booze, blah, 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 blah. Now, the good part of this is, because I sound super drunk, Bones sounds more sober. So it's lending to his cause that he's all right to drive. The cop now is listening to him yell at me, and I'm acting super drunk. I'm just all over the place. And, making like I'm going to puke on the floor of the car. The cop wants none of this. He doesn't want to see me puke. He doesn't want to hear Bones yelling at me. So he goes, I'm going to my car. I'm going to run your information. I'll be back. So he comes back. He hands Bones back his license, registration, proof of insurance. And he looks and says, where are your keys? Then he reaches on his belt, pulls his flashlight out, and starts looking in the car. And he sees Bones' keys hanging out of the ignition. He says, I want you to take those keys, and I want you to put them on the floor under your floor mat. Bones complies, puts them under his floor mat. He said, look, I can't prove that you were just driving, and I can't prove how many beers you had. I know your friend over there is hammered, and you sound pretty sober to me. But just in case, I want you guys to sit here for an hour. I'm going to come back in 15 minutes and check, And if you're not sitting here, this car isn't parked, and those keys aren't under that floor mat, I'm arresting both of you. Have a good night. I'll see you in 15 minutes. Thank you, officer. Thank you, officer. And he goes walking back to his car, gets in the car, drives off. We give it 2 more minutes, and I look at Bones and I said, man, I have got to go or I'm going to pop. So I open the door of the car, the interior light comes on, and it's all good. Nobody jumps out on us, no muggers, no crazy stuff happens, no lights coming on in apartments, nothing. I walk beside the dumpster and start relieving myself. And my God, did it feel good. I got back into the car. We waited about 20 minutes. We realized the cop hadn't come back to check on us. The hell with it. Let's just go home. So we drove home. We made it home. No other issues. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this story. And if you did, do me a favor. Tap that like button. Give this video a like. Share it with a buddy that you may have had a similar story with. If you didn't like it, thank you for listening. Make sure you subscribe. I'm going to try and do an update every Tuesday. I'm going to try and keep it on a schedule of every Tuesday. I'll either put out another story or I've got some other things, other content in the works right now. It's just, it takes a while to do. So hopefully you appreciate it. I appreciate every one of you just taking the time to even hear this. Thank you again. So until next time, I'm Gam, and I'm out like an anorexic chick at a wing eating contest.